Hello. I strongly believe that everyone has a voice that deserves to be heard. That being said, I have a story that I want to get out there. However, it's a lot, and I understand a lot of people don't want to hear it, and that's okay. I don't want to force open people's ears and spew my voice into them. This is for me, and it's going to take a minute to be able to get this all out. I'm not very good at public speaking. I tend to talk way too fast and take too many breaks. But if you'll bear with me, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to start this off with a quote. I don't know the person that wrote it, but I want to thank them for the words that they used. I may have changed it a little bit just to the female point of view, but thank you. Who will cry for the little girl lost and all alone? Who will cry for the little girl abandoned without her own? Who will cry for the little girl she cried herself to sleep? Who will cry for the little girl she never had for keeps? Who will cry for the little girl she walked the burning sand? Who will cry for the girl inside the woman? Who will cry for the little girl who knows well hurt and pain? Who will cry for the little girl she died and died again? Who will cry for the little girl, a good girl she tried to be? Who will cry for the little girl who cries inside of me? What a powerful quote. All right. Let's begin. 2%. 2% chance he could have a child. When something is that low, you don't even bother trying. But accidents happen, and here I am. Growing up, I was known as the miracle baby. I'd beat the odds. I'd been born with a cleft lip and allergic to protein, meaning I couldn't have any kind of milk. Breast, formula, regular, nothing. At 3, I was diagnosed with meningitis and given a death sentence, yet I overcame. However, I couldn't overcome my own mind. As a child, imagination was the best thing to have. You could think up anything in the world and play for hours. For me, it was the most terrifying thing that haunted me every hour of the day. I'd get so scared I couldn't breathe. I told myself that what my brain came up with wasn't true. That it was just my imagination, that I would outgrow it. But as I got older, the only thing that went away was my smile. At 8 years old, I had just moved to my third house after my sister set fire to the last one. I sat on top of a pile of hay with my older sister, playing with some hay ropes out of boredom. I had the rope around my neck. Looking down, I knew if I stepped, I'd pull on the rope and hang myself. Without another thought, I stepped. Seeing black, I felt peace. I woke up minutes later to my sister crying over me. I was only 8. I thought that was going to be the worst thing I went through. I was going to be better, stronger, overcome everything, even my own mind. Sure, there was drama with family as the years went by, and there was a lot of bullying, but I could handle it all because I had my sister. However, I quickly learned good things never last. My sister left, blowing up my family in the process. As the oldest one left at home, everything fell to me. I had to be strong, take care of everyone, leaving no one to take care of me. Even when I was raped for the first time at 13, now I had said before that I thought the worst thing I was going to go through was hanging myself at 8 years old, but the universe was only just starting. Though to this day, the worst day I've ever had to face was the morning after my rape, when I limped into my boss's kitchen because for some reason my hip wasn't in its place it should have been. It's never been the same. I sat down at the table waiting for my mom to come pick me up as my rapist ate his breakfast in front of me. Every moment of that night still playing in my head. every scream, every plea, every slap ringing in my ears. Falling onto my mom's arms was like coming up for air after drowning in his ocean. It wasn't until 4 years later I finally told her. We moved again shortly after my 14th birthday. The memories of the building we once called home becoming too much for us. I packed my things and left my best friend behind. Saying goodbye to the person that was able to get me through so much was incredibly heartbreaking, but I knew it wasn't going to be forever. I said goodbye to my JORTC class that had taught me so many things and tried to prepare me for the life ahead of me, though nothing could have. I moved to a town where you could spit and hit someone, and to a school full of unwelcoming, uppy bitches. After a while, I met Harley, who is the only reason I lasted there as long as I did. And this day, she's still my person. She helped me through a lot, and I could come to face, yet she couldn't help me find my own mind. I soon became very depressed, and my anxiety broke the roof. I stayed in my room more and didn't talk to my friends, which only got worse the summer after my 16th birthday. When I met him, Chris. I won't talk much about him because I don't want to be here all day. In that summer, I was destroyed and rebuilt into what he wanted. I let myself kneel to him and fold into what he wanted. I thought it was love, that it was the only form of love that I could get because I was dirty and broken. The crazy part is that I was and am not good enough to be his girlfriend, yet did everything like I was. Come the end of the summer, I drove further into my head, barely smiling or doing anything. It came to the point where I could barely last a day in school. I had anxiety so bad I'd get physically sick. The moment the blade touched my thigh for the first time, it was like I could breathe again. The deeper it went, the better I felt. I continued with my life knowing that my knife was at home. With every rub of my pants on my thighs, I knew my worth. I could make it a little more through the day. Things, of course, didn't stay going good. I began to drown myself in my head until one night I jumped off the bridge near my house. Unfortunately, a friend of mine was walking by and dove after me. I cried for hours that I had failed again. My thighs became so covered with old and new cuts that you couldn't tell that they were thighs at all. I tried to lean on friends to help me, but I trusted the wrong people and was sexually assaulted by one of my closest friends while my younger sister played across the hall and my special needs brother slept. The cops did nothing. I was black and blue for weeks. Weeks later, I tried again and failed. All I was a failure. I figured if life was going to make me stay, I might as well go with it. I put the blade down and got on some meds. I was starting to feel better. I thought I could do this. I started cooking again and applied and got into a tech school. I ignored my head and kept going. But I started blacking out, not remembering things going on. I didn't feel like myself and I didn't feel alone in my head. I'd go to sleep and wake up with huge scratch marks. I was terrified of myself once again. I was checked into a mental hospital days later. I got on new meds and was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, which many of you know as multiple personality disorder. I'd also have paranoia. These are things that I had had ever since I was a child, but didn't know and didn't understand. Soon after, I was doing great. I graduated from high school. I got into the absolute best school that I could. As for my present, I would love to stay here and say that I was a survivor, but I can't. I'm worse now than I ever was then. There are nights I don't know if the bathwater is red because of my bath bomb or because of my blood. However, that does not mean that I'm not trying my damnedest. Some days it's like fighting quicksand, and others, it's like I was only hit by a truck lightly. I focus on the little things. So sometimes I get excited about seeing a 7-Eleven because we don't have them in Maine. I think they're dope as hell. I wiggle when I'm excited because I don't really know how to express it. I watch Disney and snuggle stuffies because they bring me comfort. I draw faces on proofing bread because it's the only thing that can make me smile sometimes. I thought about quitting my school at least 10 times since starting, but I know somewhere in me I have what it takes. I feel I feel numb most of the time, and it takes a long time to get out of bed. I groan every time I wake up because I had said a prayer that I wouldn't when my insomnia finally let me sleep. Who am I? Right now I'm a zombie. Who will I be? A graduate of my college, an intern chef at Disney, a future owner of my own cafe, where all the things that make me have a spark of joy will be. I hope to adopt lots of kids. When I close my eyes and picture a day in my future life, this is what I see. I see joy, love, and happiness. I see a big house with a nice barn, a tire swing, family pictures with kids that have both stayed and moved on, tiny fingers slam doors, arguments, and makeup hugs, cold noses to the cheek to wake me up in the morning, breakfast at a big table before heading to open my cafe. Walking by the pictures I took when I was at Disney and my graduation picture with honor ribbons hanging around my neck. I hope with my whole being that this happens. My self-doubt gets to me all the time, telling me I won't be happy, that no one, especially a guy, will ever like me. I'm depressed and I have scars all over my body, so how could they? But I have hope for the future. That's what keeps me going. So who am I? I'm a prisoner. A zombie going through the motions, an unprinted obituary, a push througher, and a borderline survivor. But that's only for now. Whew, that was a lot. This is a paper I had to write for my communications class. It was our very first week, and I barely knew the teacher. She told us that she wanted us to write a paper about who am I. She wanted to know all of the trauma we had been through and what made us who we are. She didn't want the happy, go-getting stories. She wanted the dirty, the gritty. I tried so hard to get out of that assignment, but I couldn't. So this is what I wrote. This is a little bit of what I've been through. And I know most people probably didn't make it through this video. Probably didn't even make it through the title. And that's okay, because as much as I'd love to inspire other people to tell their stories, this was for me. This was me getting my voice out there, getting this off my chest, being able to deal with myself, I guess. So thank you for the ones that made it through. I'd love to say that I'm here if you need me, message me, whatever. But when someone is in such a dark space, they're not reaching out. And why would they to a complete stranger? So I will say this. You have a voice. You were given the ability to speak for a reason. So shout, yell, scream, whatever makes you feel better. Makes it so that you can get out of bed every day. People don't understand the struggle of that. just to get out of bed, you know? So, stay you.